Hello, my amazing learners, and welcome back to the Wisdom English podcast. My name is Sarah, and today we're going to talk about that one frustrating feeling that every English learner knows so well, the pause. That awkward, silent moment in a conversation when your brain freezes and the words just won't come out. I remember a specific moment early in my career, standing in front of an important client, when my mind went completely blank. That feeling of failure was a powerful, painful lesson. If you've ever experienced that, if you've ever felt that frustrating gap between what you want to say and what you actually say, then this episode is for you. We're going to dismantle that fear, piece by piece. So, before we dive into the solutions, let's first understand the problem more deeply. Why do so many of us pause so much when speaking English? What is really happening in our brains during those silent moments? After years of teaching and from my own personal experience, I believe it boils down to a few key reasons. The first big reason is a lack of confidence, which almost always stems from a deep-seated fear of making mistakes. When you're unsure of your English skills, you hesitate because you're terrified of looking foolish. It's like there's a little editor, a harsh critic, living in your brain. This critic is constantly saying, wait, is this the right word? Is my grammar perfect? Am I making a mistake? I remember in that presentation I mentioned, I was asked a simple question. But instead of just answering, my inner critic screamed, "You're going to get this wrong. They'll think you're incompetent." By the time that internal editor finally approves a sentence, the conversation has already moved on, leaving you feeling left behind and foolish. Another major reason is a gap in your active vocabulary. This is a very common issue. You might know a word when you read it in a book, but you can't recall it quickly enough when you need it in a conversation. It's in your passive memory, not your active one. So you stop. You mentally search through your files, and this creates those unnatural broken pauses. Your brain has to work extra hard to find the right word, and that intense effort completely breaks your conversational flow. This is why simply memorizing long lists of words isn't enough. You have to practice activating your vocabulary in real situations. And let's not forget about one of the biggest fluency killers, overthinking and translating. So many learners try to build a sentence perfectly in their native language first, and then translate it word for word into English. I used to do this all the time. But here's the problem. This process puts an immense cognitive load on your brain. It's trying to do two very complex tasks at once. And because languages have different structures and idioms, the final translated sentence often sounds unnatural anyway. Instead of speaking freely, you get stuck in your head, trying to solve a complex puzzle in the middle of a conversation. I want you to remember this. Fluency is not about perfection, it's about flow. Finally, there's the simple but powerful effect of nervousness and pressure. When you feel nervous, your body can enter a fight or flight response. Your heart beats faster, your breathing becomes shallow, and your brain literally diverts resources away from complex functions, like language production, to prepare for a perceived threat. This is why you can suddenly forget even the simplest words when you feel pressured. In that presentation, I knew the answer to the client's question, but the pressure of the moment made my mind a complete blank. It's a physical reaction, not just a mental one. That's why building real, unshakable confidence and learning to manage our physical state are so crucial. So, to summarize, the 4 biggest reasons people pause are a lack of confidence and fear of mistakes. Gaps in active vocabulary, the habit of overthinking and translating, and the physical response to nervousness. And now that we truly understand the problem, it's time to build our toolkit to fix it. Let's start with the techniques you can use to reduce pauses and speak more smoothly. One of the most foundational techniques is to start thinking in English instead of translating. You have to break the translation habit. This starts with small, conscious efforts. A great way to practice. This is to simply narrate your surroundings. As you walk outside, instead of just seeing things, consciously form simple sentences in your head. The sun is shining today. The weather is warm. I see a dog running in the park. That woman is wearing a red coat. This simple exercise trains your brain to process your thoughts and observations directly in English, making it a much more natural process over time. You are building new pathways in your brain. Another surprisingly useful technique is learning to use filler words naturally. Now, I know some teachers say filler words are bad, but that's not true. All native speakers use them constantly. They are a natural part of speech, and they are essential tools to keep the conversation flowing while you gather your thoughts. There are different types of fillers for different situations. For gaining time instead of a dead silence, you can use words like, well, or let me see. For example, what did I do yesterday? Let me think. Yes, I went to the park. For structuring your thoughts, you can use phrases like so, basically, first of all, or the thing is. For example, so basically, there are 2 reasons I believe this is a good idea. For softening an opinion, you can use or kind of. For example, I see your point, but I kind of feel differently. The key is to use them sparingly and naturally, just to bridge the gaps where you would otherwise have a long, awkward pause. Here's another powerful technique that I absolutely love: shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a native speaker and repeating what they say immediately, like an echo. It forces you to speak quickly and smoothly without pausing to think. It's an incredible exercise for your mouth muscles, your ear, and your brain. Here's a simple way to start. First, choose a short audio clip, maybe 30 seconds long, with a clear speaker. Step 1. Just listen to it a couple of times to get familiar with the content. Step 2. Listen again, but this time, read a transcript of the audio at the same time. Step 3. Now, play the audio and try to speak along with it, almost at the same time. Try to copy the speaker's exact rhythm, intonation, and speed. This will feel very strange at first, but over time, your brain will get used to producing speech without hesitation. And here's one more crucial tip. Don't aim for perfection. Many learners pause because they're desperately searching for the perfect word or the perfect grammatical structure. But in real conversations, mistakes are okay. The goal is to communicate, not to be a walking textbook. If you can't remember a specific word, don't stop talking. Try to explain it in a different way. This skill is called circumlocution, and it's a superpower for fluent speakers. For example, if you forget the word screwdriver, instead of a long panicked pause, you can just say, the tool you use to turn a screw. Your listener will understand you perfectly, and you've kept the conversation moving forward. So to recap these 4 essential techniques: practice thinking directly in English, use filler words naturally, practice the shadowing technique, and don't aim for perfection. Keep talking even if you make mistakes. Now, let's go even deeper. Let's talk about how you can actively train your brain to think and respond faster. The first step is to actively expand not just your vocabulary, but your arsenal of sentence patterns and phrases. If you only have individual words in your mind, your brain has to work very hard to build every sentence from scratch. But if you have common phrases ready to go, you can speak much more quickly. For example, instead of just memorizing the word agree, learn the full phrases. I agree with you. I completely agree. I see your point. Start building a phrase bank of useful expressions for different situations like giving opinions, agreeing, and disagreeing. Next, you need to practice active listening. This means when you listen to English, you're not just passively letting the sound wash over you. A great way to do this is to try to predict what the speaker will say next. As you listen to podcasts, try to guess the next word or phrase before the speaker finishes their sentence. This trains your brain to think ahead in a conversation, which is a key skill for responding quickly. Another powerful technique is imitating native speakers. Find a speaker you like and try to copy their specific way of speaking. Pay attention to their speed, their rhythm, and their common phrases. Imitation is one of the fastest ways to train your brain. The more you expose yourself to natural English speech, the faster your own brain will learn to process and produce English in a similar way. So, to summarize how to train your brain for faster speech, learn and practice common phrases, listen actively and predict what's coming next, and imitate native speakers to improve your own speed and fluency. Now that we know how to train our brains, let's talk about some practical daily exercises to build these habits. One of my absolute favorites is the 1-minute speaking challenge. This is a simple but incredibly powerful exercise. Here's how you do it. Pick a simple topic, set a timer for 1 minute, and speak about that topic for the full minute without stopping. The only rule is you must keep talking. If you get stuck, just repeat your last sentence or say, and, until a new thought comes. The goal is to build the muscle of continuous speaking. Another great exercise is story retelling. Let me give you an example. I will tell you a very short story. I want you to listen carefully. Yesterday, a man went to the zoo. He wanted to see the lions. When he got there, the lions were sleeping. He was disappointed, but then he saw the monkeys playing, and it made him laugh. Now, I want you to pause this podcast and try to retell that short story in your own words. Go ahead, try it now. This exercise forces you to recall information, organize your thoughts, and form complete sentences in English, all skills that are essential for fluent conversation. Next, you can try speed conversation practice. Set aside timer for 2 minutes and have a fast conversation with a friend, or even just talk to yourself in the mirror. The goal here is to respond as quickly as possible, without overthinking. For those who don't have a speaking partner, you can practice with speech-to-text apps on your phone. Just speak into your phone and see how much of your speech is transcribed correctly. This is a great way to check your pronunciation and your fluency in real time. Now, I want to add a completely new idea to our toolkit, focusing on the physicality of fluency. Speaking isn't just a mental game, it's physical too. When we get nervous, our bodies tense up, our breathing becomes shallow, and this is what leads to the freeze response. One of the most powerful things I learned after my own presentation disaster was how to control my breathing. Before any important conversation now, I do a simple box breathing exercise. It's easy. You inhale for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 4 seconds, You exhale for 4 seconds, and you hold your breath for 4 seconds. Just doing this a few times calms your entire nervous system and sends a signal to your brain that you are safe and in control. This can prevent your mind from going blank. Similarly, your body language affects your confidence. If you're slumped over and avoiding eye contact, you will feel less confident. But if you stand up straight, pull your shoulders back and make eye contact, even with yourself in the mirror, you can actually trick your brain into feeling more powerful and confident. Try it. Your physical state has a huge impact on your mental state, and therefore, on your fluency. Finally, let's talk about your mindset. Fluency isn't just about techniques, it's also about building unshakable confidence. The first and most important mindset shift is to understand that mistakes are a necessary part of learning. Instead of fearing them, you need to welcome them. After my failed presentation, I felt so ashamed. But then my mentor told me, "Sarah, that wasn't a failure. It was expensive data. You just learned exactly what you need to work on." That changed everything for me. I want you to start thinking of your mistakes not as failures, but as valuable data that guides your learning. The second mindset shift is to focus on communication, not perfection. The goal of speaking is to connect with another person. If they understand your idea, you have succeeded, even if your grammar wasn't perfect. The third mindset shift is to understand that confidence comes from action, not from waiting to feel ready. Many learners think, "I will speak when I feel more confident." But it's the other way around. You will feel confident after you speak, not before. You have to take the action first to earn the feeling of confidence. Fourth, stop comparing yourself to others. Your journey is unique. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. As long as you are making small improvements, you are succeeding. And finally, my favorite mindset shift. See English as a tool, not a test. A test has right and wrong answers and leads to a grade. It's a performance. A tool, on the other hand, is something you use to build things. You use a hammer to build a house. You use English to build relationships, to share ideas, to express love, and to build a better future for yourself. When you see English as a tool, you're not afraid to use it. You just pick it up and start building. Wow, we have covered so much today. Let's do a quick recap. We understood that we pause because of fear, vocabulary gaps, translation, and nervousness. We learned techniques to reduce pauses like thinking in English, using filler words, and shadowing. We talked about training your brain for faster speech by learning phrases and practicing active listening. We went over practical exercises like the 1-minute speaking challenge and story retelling. And we discussed powerful mindset shifts, like seeing mistakes as data and confidence as a result of action. So here is your challenge. My challenge for you this week is to record yourself doing the 1-minute speaking challenge every day for just 3 days. Use a different topic each day. Don't judge it, just do it. On the 3rd day, I want you to listen to your recording from day 1 and then your recording from day 3. I guarantee you will hear a small improvement. You will be a little smoother, a little faster, a little more confident. I want you to notice that progress. Then come back here to this video and write, "I'm speaking more smoothly," in the comments to celebrate your progress with our community. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Wisdom English podcast channel to watch our next videos.